Hello, my name is Jamie Hernandez. Okay, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about math and kind of what it means to me, some of the things that are going on in these days and times with math and elementary students. Um, Currently, I work at a Head Start, so mine are the littles. My classroom right now consists of 8 kids that are 2 years old. Um, We do a little bit with math. They learn to count at least to 30 or 40 before they move up to the Head Start side. I'm early Head Start. Um, at this point, I wish to stay doing what I'm doing. But if I were to ever switch to teaching in a public school, I would probably like to be in kindergarten, first grade, second grade maybe, but I kind of like the littles. That's what I've always done, and it works well for me. The part of math that I like most, first let me start off by saying math has always been a very hard subject for me. Um, but the part of math that I do like, it goes way back to the basics. Um, I like division and multiplication. I know that sounds really mid-school, grade schoolish, but I was pretty good at it. And of course, I can add and subtract. I do like to do fractions. I like to work with fractions. Well, and the reason for me, I like those subjects, they were easy for me. I caught on quickly to those different parts of math. I didn't feel stress. I didn't feel anxiety. And of course, that was many years ago. But even still to this day, I'm pretty good at those subjects in math. The part of math that I really dislike when it comes to algebra, I can just feel my body tense up, and I feel like I'm trying to catch my breath. I get anxiety really bad because I'm so stressed out, because I do want to do well and I want to learn it, but I have a really hard time making it stick. I need to go over and over and over the material. I've often felt like it's something that's blocking in my brain for that's keeping me from being able to learn it as well as I would like to. But however, that does not stop me from keep trying and keep trying. The issues that I think exist a lot in elementary schools today, I feel like it does have a little bit to do with the teachers. I read some articles on that, in fact, where it talks about how I think it was one out of like every 8 teachers that have sufficient enough time to master the things that they will be teaching to the students. I think that could be a small percentage of it, but I also feel like another issue is in the home life. Parents are busy. Sometimes they work late. They don't have adequate enough time to sit down at the table and actually do the math with their child. Then there are those, sadly enough, there are those parents sometimes that have the time but don't use it. They don't just take the time to sit down with their child. And then there are students that have health-related issues that can affect their learning of math. Like anxiety can be, mental issues or other health-related issues that can affect that. Artificial intelligence in math in elementary classrooms. Do I think that students should use AI to do their work? I think if there was a way for it to be tracked on how they use it and what they're using it for, it would be okay. Unfortunately, I don't think that there is. I do know that there are ways that teachers can tell if AI is being used, but if there was like some sort of way to track what they're using it and how they're using it. If it's just used for like, when you need help and you don't understand something, okay. But not to like completely do the work for you. And that went into my second response here in this topic. That's some of the issues that I see with AI being used in elementary students. Some may use it just for the help, to help understand the problem, but there also may be others that might just use it to do the work for them. And that's not going to help them in the long run. Do I think it's a good idea? Again, I think it would be an okay idea, if everybody could stick to the fact of just using it when they need help rather than it doing the work for them. Do I think that elementary students use AI to help them understand the material? Again, I think there are some that do. To help them understand the processes needed to solve the problem. I think, again, that there are some students that are really committed to learning the material and they use it for that purpose. And there are others that maybe anxiety has got the best. There might be some that just don't want to learn the material. It's way up here. But I think if it was used properly, it could help them understand the process needed to solve the problem. Now, do I think that they use it to do their homework for them? I think it's very possible. There are some that will, some that may not. Now, speaking about artificial intelligence in college classrooms, do students use AI in their college classes? I've heard a lot of talk about it. And how do students use AI in college classes? How do we use AI in college classes? Again, I've even read articles on, there are students that simply use it to do the work for them. And there are those of us, which I can speak for myself. I'm one of them. I've used it. I have a hard time understanding, so I do use it frequently to help me try to get a better understanding of the work that I'm doing. What the issues that I see with AI being used by us college students is, again, because I know that I've heard a lot of people, hey, I use it, I've used it to help me do all my problems. It just gives me the answer. And, that's not going to help us in the long run. The work is not going to stick up here. Do I think that college students use AI to help us understand the material? Yeah, I think that a lot of us do, and or to help us understand the process needed to solve the problem. I think it can be used for that. Yes, again, if it's all in the way that it's being used. Is it being used correctly? What AI applications do other college students use the most for their classes, and how do we use them? I can speak for myself on that one. The only one that I've really ever messed with is the ChatGPT. And speaking honestly, I've only used that like for my math class. And it's only, again, to help me get an understanding, or, to get a way to help me work through the steps of the problem. The only other one I can think of is just Google Lens. But that sometimes, it's kind of far-fetched because it doesn't always, give you a clear understanding, is what I have found. Now, the use of AI in school. Have I ever used AI in a class? How and why? Well, yes, as I just explained, in math. And how I've used it is to help me get an understanding, or try to search for the steps on how to work a certain problem. And why? Because I have a very hard time understanding, especially when it comes to algebra. I just have a really rough time with that. To help it has helped me understand the material. I think for me, again, it's just my anxiety. It ties in with. It almost feels like there's a block up there and it's not letting the material go through. The AI applications that I have used the most, again, is the ChatGPT. Google Lens a little bit, but it's not really much of a reliable source is what I'm trying to say. AI in education, again, to sum it all up, it could be a good idea if it's used properly. Will it help students in the long run to truly understand the material? Again, I think if it's just used to get an idea, to show you how to do the steps, it could help your understanding, to better your understanding, but I don't think it's a good idea to solely rely on that. Will AI hurt students in the long run by not being used to learn the material and making them depend on AI for the rest of their lives? I think it could possibly, yes, hurt a lot of students because, again, it just depends on the person and how disciplined they are about wanting to learn and actually make it stick. Now, if there's those that just, well, I just want to get my work done and that's that, well, then it's not a good thing, because if you become solely dependent on that for the rest of your lives, it's not a good piece of equipment to use for that purpose. I think about things that are going on in the world, like certain restaurants, Taco Bell. You're at the speaker trying to order. It's AI. It's not a real person until you actually get up to the window, and it's like, kind of a little bit scary. I believe in using it, but only for certain things, not to fully do our work. And that's not going to help me learn it by doing that. Okay, and that's all I have. Thank you very much for listening